the dollar yen falls to a 24-year, the yen falls to a 24-year low. That's the third time. Uh, the dollar yen rose to a level of $147 per yen, right? And so what happened was they were basically pricing in the 75 basis point hike that's coming in November. And so uh, Sunichi Suzuki basically said he was worried about what's going on with the Asian currency. Kwasi Kwarteng was sacked on Friday after the mini budget turmoil. He basically announced a $45 billion unfunded tax cut, and that caused the pound to fall, which caused an unprecedented amount of gilt buying, bond buying by the central bank to basically shore up the falling of the pound. They were afraid that it was going to cascade and fall much lower. So there was unprecedented intervention. And in other news, Swiss bank was part of a foreign exchange conspiracy network, lawyer says. Okay, now this is the stuff that people basically says don't blame it on your broker, don't blame it on the central banks or smart money. But right here, what happened was the Swiss bank and 15 other banks participated in online chat rooms in which they colluded on spreads for currency pairs in late 2007, 2013. Now that was over 10 years ago, and they're just, you know what I mean? So this is pretty interesting. I don't know what to say, but choose your broker wisely. But from this type of stuff, you can't get away from. So you might just have to suck it up. And with that, let's get to the intro. Hey Forex Militia, Parsival here, and we are going to go over the calendar for the week of the 17th to the 21st, and we are going to start out with the calendar from last week. And so there were two things that I did not put in the preview, but I'm going to talk about them here. And we have the FOMC minutes, which was a non-event. I mean, it's red, but there wasn't really much that actually went on. And the big news was the CPI on Thursday that basically came in a little bit hotter, and it caused the Dow Jones and a lot of currencies, it caused the Dow Jones to be extremely volatile. It went 1,500 points from top to bottom. So that was huge. The biggest move since I believe November of 2020, and the biggest spread from top to bottom since March of 2020, the pandemic. So that was huge news. And then core retail sales came in on Friday, and Bailey actually spoke on Saturday, but I didn't see that. So let's just see what he said. Bailey, flying blind is not the way to run fiscal policy. That's a little funny because, yeah, after the sacking of Kwasi, yeah, basically the BOE is running around, I guess, stubbing their toe in the dark right now. Hopefully, because it affects everybody, they can bring that all together. Okay, let's get on to this week's calendar. This week's calendar says that there will be a CPI from the Kiwi, a GDP from, this is the the Chinese yuan, and then CPI. It's CPI week. I just realized that for the pound. Wow, that's going to be something for the pound to see that move. You might want to keep an eye on that one. And then from the loonie, we get that, and then unemployment change from the Aussie. And then we get the Philly Fed manufacturing index, which comes in a little bit later. But after that, there's not much more. And so that's the calendar. So now let's go over to the charts and take a look at what the charts are saying. Starting with the dollar. The dollar is incredibly bullish. It has been it has been causing all types of turmoil around the world because it is so bullish. It, what do you call it, rose to $31,000. I'm sorry, the debt in the U.S. has risen to $31 billion. Trillion dollars. Excuse me. I'm working. I'm a work in progress. So what we have here is the dollar basically causing tons and tons of currencies around the world to basically have us owe more in interest rates. All right. So still going to be bullish on the dollar. Now, one thing I did believe that the dollar was going to take a break and fall down to this area right here, 103.50. That did not materialize. The CPI is still hot. Most likely when the CPI decides to cool off, and we'll see the dollar fall and a lot of the other currencies start raising. Okay, on the Dow Jones, on the US 30, we had some really big volatility that came in there on Thursday, 1,500 points. And as you can see, for the second time, it has tested this trend line. And so it hit there. And so now, right now, it's looking like it's a bit in a range. So not knowing exactly which direction it's going to travel, but the direction looks like it's going to be down. And as you can see, it's between this, the 250 moving average, and this trend line. So we'll see which side that it actually breaks out. My COT has this going short, but during this week, a lot of the shorts were covered. So that's interesting. On gold. Gold is still short, and as you can see, this crossover, I use the 250 and the 50 to basically give me a very decent bias between long and short. And so this is crossed below, so this is only take short signals, only take it bearish. So I'm short the gold, and I'm most likely going to look for it to actually hit the lows over here at 116.19, 116.20. Bitcoin is flat right now, but if it depends on what happens with the stock market. Now this right here, as you can see, this is above this 250. This is still bullish. I will be looking to see if this actually crosses below this 250. If that happens, I will be very, very bearish. But right now, it's flat. It looks like it's going to actually range a little bit before anything of that nature happens. On oil, I am bullish on oil. This for the same reason. This is giving a buy signal, a buy bias, and I think that oil is going to raise again. It's right now it is stalling right now, but as you can see on some of my indicators, it's looking like this is just a pullback before it actually skyrockets higher, which will increase inflation, and it's going to be rampant in the U.S. at least. Okay, around the world. So if oil goes up, this on the loonie is long. As long as I believe oil, and right now, as you can see, the dollar and oil is going to be long. So there might, if oil actually decides to take off, the loonie will actually have a fighting chance to actually stall this advance. It might actually move across. It might actually hit this and move across. But if anything, it should hit the old high. I'm not going to talk. I'm going to do it from here. This high right here of 143.50. So we are going to be looking for it to hit somewhere up at 143.50 because this is still long. On the euro is still short, and it is going to be short for a while as long as the dollar is still trucking higher. But there is divergence. There's a lot of divergence, and if this actually decides that it wants to rally, I believe it'll rally up to about 104. On the pound basically is the same thing. There is some divergence coming in, and if it rallies back, it should rally up to this point around here, 120, 118, 120, up in this zone right here. Okay? Please like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. I will try to bring out more content as we go along, and I thank you for taking the time to watch my video. And with that, I will say knowledge is power. Be power hungry and power to the people. And this is Parsival signing out.